Vocabulary is the key to better speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Naturally, when it comes to important stuff, our mind always proves that it's designed not to remember, but to forget. So how do we fix that? In today's video, I want to share with you my personal trick to better memorize vocabulary. So, I don't like to identify people by their names. Hey, remember John? Dude, you've got to be more specific. I know quite a few Johns. Well, you know, John, the guy you brought to the party with you last week. Oh, that John! Although I prefer to think of him as the horn collector. I'll have to see his assortment. Impressive would be an understatement. Wait, what did you want to ask me about again? Nothing. In my mind, it completely makes sense to nickname people. I mean, how else do you plan to distinguish one individual among 7 billion of them? When it comes to vocabulary, I'm in the exact same mindset. My reasoning is that semantics is never special enough to capture your memory permanently. Speaking like Shakira. So what I tend to do is to attach each new word with one or some according references. These references have to be significant, remarkable, or appealing to me in one way or another so that I don't easily forget about them. For instance, if you now spoke the word whistleblower to me, I'd instantly think of Edward Snowden and Bradley Manning. Those are the names of the two individuals who've been called whistleblower by the press prevailingly throughout the year 2013 after divulging a number of confidential documents reporting some humanly debatable activities of the CIA and the US military. In this particular case, the information aspect completely outshines the language matter. After all, it is one of the biggest controversies of 2013, so it's safe to say that it's so much easier to respond to where have I seen the word whistleblower before than to what does whistleblower mean? In general, the purpose of doing this is to provide your memory evidences to grip onto, direction to navigate toward in searching for the ultimate goal, which is the meaning of the word whistleblower, as opposed to aimlessly praying for your brain to somehow manage to make that word you're looking for magically appear out of the blue. Anyway, that's basically all that I do. This is something that I've come up with all on my own, so I know it works for me because let's just say that I quite like to read and watch. I hold no guarantee that this will also work for you. However, if you are intrigued and want to give it a try, then it's imperative to bear in mind that this will never be enough. It is not the ultimate solution. It's more like an efficiency booster. Because at the end of the day, it all has to come down to practicing. Because we all know that if there's one thing that practice makes, it's perfect. Or as Uvis likes to put it,
let me see you work it, come on, let me work it. I wanna see you work it, come on.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time. So after last week's video, I hope you're now... Wait a second. Something is missing. Where's my jam? So after last week's video, I hope you're now marginally ready for what I have for you today, which is a session elaborating the rhythm of speaking. Now, I'm not going to go on and on about how important rhythm is because I've already covered that in my Speaking Naturally video, which if you haven't watched, I have a link somewhere here for you. Go watch it. I know, it's great stuff, but don't get too excited and jump straight into practice because we have some prep work to do beforehand. More precisely, there's some habits that you may or may not resort to that I suggest you ditch if you want to speak English rhythmically. Pretty sure you have to agree with me that most of us students in studying English have a mild obsession with accent, which is why we constantly work on our pronunciation. How to pronounce this word the American way? What is the British alternative? What we may fail to realize is that good pronunciation doesn't always correlate with good speaking. To prove my point, I'm gonna give you an example.
Whatever, I'm too beautiful for this shit.
Sounds odd, doesn't it? Sounds very, I don't know, Google Translate-ish. It has to be since it's indeed Google Translate. Actually, that's the first thing that I want to say. Don't use Google Translate as your tool to practice speaking, because normal people don't speak like machines, so neither should you. The bigger point here is that even if syllables are each pronounced perfectly, when you join them together to form a phrase, a paragraph, or a speech, it still sounds unnatural, incoherent, and one of the biggest reasons why it's a lack of rhythm, lack of flow. So don't mistake pronunciation for rhythm because they are two different things. Now this is slightly biased because I personally despise mixing the two languages together. I respect each language too much to execute such a lurid act on either of them, but most essentially because I can do that, and not because of my lack of trying. Once upon a time, I used to wish that I would be somewhat less of a misfit, so I tried to introduce one too many English words into my Vietnamese speaking to, sound as fancy, trendy, flashy as people around me. Whenever I did that, I noticed that my English instantly became disgustingly shit. That is because I cannot swing back and forth between the rhythm of English and the one of Vietnamese, since the two don't mesh together, obviously. I'm not saying that you can do that. I'm not the boss of you. Not that I would think of you as disgustingly pretentious and disrespectful spoiled brats or anything, because that's so not the truth. All I'm saying is that if you struggle to tune in with English, then you may want to take into account that your mixed language, it's potentially the reason why. This is the habit that we adopt from speaking Vietnamese. Unfortunately, this and English are incompatible. Let's just use another weird image for you to better visualize the situation, shall we? Because why not? If speaking Vietnamese were like stepping, then speaking English would be gliding, ice skating. Essentially, what I meant was that the fashion of speaking Vietnamese is very curt, very brisk, very choppy. English, it's so much more clingy. Words adhere one to another. We constantly have the tendency to smooth things out and lengthen them. We don't say, oh no, but we say, oh no. We don't say, keep your friends close, your enemy closer, but we say, keep your friends close, your enemy closer. A very good way to practice is to listen to people with a bit of a diva attitude, mostly gay people, since they are the masters of smoothness. They are as smooth as it gets. The typical textbook situation: raise your voice a certain word, keep it level from here to here, and then lower it down at the end of the sentence. I said it earlier and I say it again. Stop turning us into answering machines. There's no right or wrong way to handle it. The beauty of English is that as long as you keep your pronunciation in check, your stress guarantee, you can pretty much bend your rhythm however you want. To each his own. Everybody's flow is different, and that's what makes English versatile and, quite frankly, awesome. Ugh, it feels so good to finally get things off my chest, especially the insulting part. Remember, don't get it confused between pronunciation and rhythm. Personalize it, try smoothing out and lengthening, and about the mixed language thing. You know what, just don't. Just don't. You kids go have fun, and I'll see you next time. So, the other day, I was chatting with my friend who's starting in France. If you're watching this, no, when you're watching this, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, she was complaining how she barely speaks to native people because she's terrified of making mistakes. And as a dedicated friend that I am, my instinctive reaction was, what? Oh my god, dude, something is wrong with the connection. I can't hear anything. Maybe another time, okay? I'm just kidding. Jeez. On a more serious note, making mistakes is kind of a big deal, actually. especially when you want to impress people that need to be impressed. For example, your employer, your favorite celebrity, someone you have a crush on but never had a chance to approach. So I've thought about it pretty hard, and by pretty hard I mean when I brush my teeth. And I've come up with a few ideas. This is what I cannot stand about Korean dramas. It takes about a few dozens of episodes for the hero and the heroine to be holding hands, which is crazy. In reality, probably half an episode is enough for them to get pregnant. Always better, in most cases, to go straight to the point rather than wasting your time wandering around, beating around the bush, because that leads to two things. One, we're most likely to ramble when we're confused, and that gives whoever you're talking to the satisfaction of knowing that they can fluster you with just a few simple words. Number two, the more you babble, the more you diffuse yourself away from the core topic. The further away you are, the less you make sense. The more confused you get, and the more you ramble. It's basically a vicious cycle. You don't want to get into that. This is not to be mistaken with taking a long time to answer. Because, when people say something to you, so what do you think about this movie? It's kind of expected that you have an instant reaction in return. Otherwise, it's kind of unnerving to see someone you're talking to all of a sudden frozen and zoned out. Some people might even think, oh my god, is she having a stroke? Which is kind of scary. I'm talking about the speed of speaking. When you can moderate your speaking speed, you gain more control over everything, really. Your pronunciation, your grammar, you can really avoid pesky little mistakes that are actually very commonly made. For example, S or no S, or you won't say things like, I don't mean no harm, which is acceptable in hip-hop English speaking, but not in more formal contexts. And you can also keep track on the subject you're addressing, which in referring back to the previous part about hitting the point is very important. Besides, when you have more control, you'll be more confident, and that's always a good thing, right? I know what you're thinking. Me, talking about keeping it simple. Yeah, right. I have to admit, even I am sometimes in awe of my own verbosity. You see what I just did? I totally could have said, I am a very wordy person. But no, I used to do these sentence correcting exercises in which the sentences that are most obviously inaccurate are actually the longest. So it's better to keep things short and sweet in terms of structure. That doesn't mean that you cannot flaunt your English competence. Always find other ways to do that. You can incorporate some more advanced vocabulary, or you can add more verbs to give more ambience. For example, saying, I totally get it, and saying, I fully understand are identical in terms of structure, but they don't sound the same. Now, I know I've always encouraged you to stray from the comfort zone, but in situations where you need your English to be as flawless as possible, it's advised to stay within it. Use words and structures that you're familiar with. Don't use anything that you're not sure about the meaning or the pronunciation. And definitely be careful with slangs and idioms and catchphrases, because those are tricky. Don't use them unless you're 100% positive how to. I think it's no point to show off your skillfulness only to be corrected afterward. Nothing wrong with saying I don't know technically. It's a fail in terms of personality. Unless you're asked about a fact. For example, what is the element next to iron in the periodic table? Then I just say I don't know right away because I don't speak chemistry. Period. But if people ask for your opinion, then why not give them yours? I understand that we feel self-conscious sometimes about our opinions, whether they sound silly, unrealistic, naive. But opinions aren't supposed to be subjective. They don't have to be right or wrong. You can say you think the sky is pink and it's fine as long as you're fine with it because it's your opinion. It's up to you. In conclusion, I think the key to mitigate the chance of you making mistakes is to gain more control. Control over the content of speaking, control over the manner of delivering the information, as well as your personality. Hope you find this video helpful. I'll see you next time. Hi, today we're getting back to the basic, to the first thing you ever learned to speak in English, or any other languages for that matter, which is greetings. Hey! People tend to overlook greeting. Hey, you never know. Sometimes saying hello is all that it takes to decide the most important moments of your lives.
Well, just
Shut up. Just shut up. You had me at hello.
Obviously, everybody can say hello. The question is, have you nailed it? Let's start from scratch with the most proverbial, the most commonly used. We have, hi, hello, how's it going? Nice to meet you, good to see you. How you doing? What's up? Piece of cake, done. Oh no. Things just got heated up from here, my friends, because it's only the foundation for you to customize various forms of greetings depending on your personal styles and personalities. Hey jerk, what's up idiot, ass wife, son of a bitch. Bro. Hi Dolly Dolls! Oh my god, you look fabulous. Cute, hashtag cute as hell. Hey. Hey, good day y'all. Now we're looking so crazy right now, you know. Miss me, bitches.
What's up, y'all? My name's Sam. I am. Check out my latest jam, y'all. Well. Look who's here.
I always thought it's impossible for my videos to get even more mortifying. You know what? I always seem to surprise myself. It's okay though, at least it's more interesting than the classic hello. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? You can pretty much recite even in your dreams. Come on, you've got more character to yourself than that. Why not express it? Starting from the very hello. Before I wrap things up, just want to quickly say thank you to all the feedback from previous videos. If you can, leave me some suggestions on what types of topics you would like me to tackle in the future. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye. Hi, so this video is done by request, and here is the topic. Why do you suck in English when you really want to be good at it? And here are a few suggestions. I mean, if all of these have been true, then I've never been able to speak any languages. Oh, here's what I think. If we just imagine in a very twisted and totally unrealistic situation, you and English were both involved in a romantic relationship, then the problem would be turned into how to make that relationship work. Does it make sense? Yes, it does. Now here's what I'm proposing. We're gonna do a little quiz, just to find out who are you in that relationship, and then we'll find a solution from there. So, shall we?
Where's your friend, y'all?
No, never keep track on her.
Don't you worry, y'all.
Why? It's not like she can do any better than me. I mean, have you seen me? I'm rich, and I'm good looking, and I'm a banker, motherfucker. Since you're so cocky, I would assume that you have the reason to be. To be very natural in English, you learn things really quickly, and that is a huge advantage because it allows you to cut down your time to study English considerably. The downfall of it is that it also exposes you to the risk of being reckless and lazy. So you spend less and less time for it because you think you're going to be good at it anyway. Unfortunately, things aren't quite that simple. English is kind of a player with a bit of a short-term memory. If you don't consistently remind it who's the boss, the bitch is gonna forget about you altogether and going out with another dude in no time. So you better amp up your game because, remember that story about the rabbit and the turtle? Why are you all dressed up? Amy said it's important to look good in front of your husband. Honey, I can't go on timing. Don't you ever get on the plate of pie? But honey, you have to go. Sarah said it's important for a couple to learn to appreciate each other's company. No, I'm absolutely not going to couple therapy. But honey, Mom said
You're the one who lives by the motto, always learn from the best. She speaks very good English. That's what she does, so that's what I'm gonna do. He has a bad 99Ls, he does that, and that's what I'm gonna do too. Yet the results are still unsatisfying. Here's my one and only piece of advice for you. Bro, some common sense. I mean, if I saw a Zara model looking gorgeous in an overall, would I go ahead and buy that overall? No! Why not? Because it would look hideous on me. And that is the humble little thing called common sense. People are gonna say a myriad things. You can't just mindlessly listen to all of them. You have to select what you think will work for you and accommodate them to your condition. And in order to do that, you have to be completely honest with yourself. You have to really know what you need. Because if you don't, then I doubt anybody will spend time to do that for you.
Zooby zooby zoo. Zooby zooby zoo. Zooby zooby zoo. Zooby zoo. Zooby zoo means that I
We have sticks and red wine.
Zooby zooby zoo. Zooby zooby zoo.
Sticks and red wine.
Zooby zoo. Zooby zooby zoo.
Oh, it's you. Got it. You, my friend, are a creature of habit. You find something that works for you and you just keep going at it repeatedly without fail. You know what they usually say at the gym? Not that I ever go to. What they usually say is that if you only work on one muscle, then sooner or later your body will grow accustomed to that exercise and your workout will stop working out. This is on that very same principle. If you don't have any variety to your practice, eventually you're gonna find yourself reaching a phase of stagnation where your English doesn't necessarily get worse, but it doesn't get better either. And you know what they say, not moving forward means you're already falling behind. Lies, it's a bitch. So my suggestion, diversity. Don't limit yourself at just Nagek or just soap opera or just Taylor Swift music. That's not how we always speak. If you're engaged in conversation about nuclear weapon or North Korea or economic crisis, what would you do then? Singing Shake It Out? I'm just gonna shake. Ain't gonna happen.
I think I'm falling for you.
Really? Oh, that's good, because I need to be married by the age of 25 and have 2 kids at 28. I'm thinking about buying properties and a boat.
You're the planner. Your life things to be laid out in tasks and assignments. And you just smash them one by one with the intensity of a tornado. However, you still find that something is missing. Like, it feels so forced when it should be fluid. It feels so exhausting when it should be easy. If you haven't figured out what you're lacking, let me fill in the blank for you. You're missing out all the fun. Your sole determination is to arrive at the destination as fast as possible. Accidentally, that makes you passing by all the fun experiences that you could have had in the process. But those are the things that can take you from being good to being outstanding. If you're not able to find the joy and the humor, then no relationship it's gonna work, imaginary or otherwise. That is it for today's video. I'm sorry, here's me a little bit high. Pray that you find something that makes sense to you from this video. If anything, we'll see each other
Zooby zooby
next time.
zoo. Zooby zoo.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of whatever this is. Today I'll be talking about watching television, which is my favorite activity in the entire world. Funny thing is, I find that watching TV can help improve your English considerably. It's actually pretty clear what benefits television can contribute to your English studies. It's an endless supply of vocabulary for you. Not only it's abundant in quantity, but it's also incredibly, oh my god, incredibly diverse in categories. In addition to that, television is probably the most accessible resource you can find. Most importantly, the sheer action of watching TV is one of the rare things that the majority of demographic shares an interest in. I never have to second guess myself whether I should watch TV or do something else, because watching TV always wins. Oh, looking hot, girlfriend. Hanging out with a little boy? Yeah, there's a new sci-fi flick of the cinema. John wants to see it and he needs a company, so... Aren't you going anywhere? Are you insane? I'm exhausted. Plus, I love this show.
You have no idea how stupid these people are. Makes me so happy.
Oh man, that show seems fun. Wish I could stay at home. Stupid sci-fi movie. If only John didn't have a six-pack.
See what I mean? Watching TV can help you study English, then that would be an assignment that you not only voluntarily, but also passionately sign up to. If I were your parents, I would be in tears to see that day coming. I think that pretty much covers the basics of the whys. Let's move on to the hows. How can we make the most out of your experience of watching TV in favor of your English studies? For starters, try omitting subtitles because then you can concentrate on more important stuff such as vocabulary and context. Television can help you expand your vocabulary considerably. When you catch new words, don't just pay attention to the words per se. Also take note about what kind of context in which those words are used, how native speakers use them in actual conversations. One thing that I find very cool is that you can learn a lot of slangs and idioms from TV shows. This is something that uniquely television can provide, whereas other textbook approaches can't. What I absolutely adore about television is that there's always a show for everyone. So news headlines for nerds, TV shopping for housewives, soap operas for hopeless romantics, and of course for those who just want to have fun, we have reality TV. If you're a beginner in watching television in English, then I would suggest you stick to what you like. Once you grow accustomed to it, I recommend you stray from your comfort zone. For example, if you're a regular audience of TV sitcoms, it's very beneficial if you switch to CNN once in a while. This will help you increase your vocabulary, not only in terms of quantity, but also in terms of diversity. So you have a lot of vocabulary in many different divisions, from economics to politics to culture to entertainment. Expanding your watch list offers the opportunity to understand about different types of languages, because we obviously don't just use one language for every circumstance. In a daily conversation, then your language could just be informal, but it's an entirely different story if you're on the news. You have to speak in a much more academic, businesslike, a much more formal tone. Finally, don't neglect the information itself. Oftentimes people find themselves stuck in the middle of writing or speaking because they don't have anything to write or speak about. This is where you can put the information that you receive from watching TV into perfect use. I guess I should summarize by saying that watching TV might be just another thing to do to kill time, but it might as well be a very fun, very creative, and productive experience of learning on so many different levels. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Today, let's talk expression. How to express yourself better, given that we already got accuracy covered, that is. When I think of being expressive, I instantly think of 3 criteria: sense, clarity, and ambience. And in today's video, I want to tackle the linguistic tools that can help you meet all of them. So, I don't care how beautiful you are, how well you dressed, or how mesmerized your accent makes me feel. Actually, I do care about all of those things, but what I want to say is that I refused to listen to you if you don't make sense. I'm sorry, I don't have time for your bullshit. I have an American Horror Story marathon to attend to, so. For some reason, I'm under the impression that a lot of people think that they can just lay down all the ideas in their head on the table and automatically people will be able to figure out the meaning behind them, the big picture. But that is not the case. Ideas also have to be organized in a logical order. From your perspectives to the audience understanding, it's a long journey, and your job as a speaker is to walk them through it. And what are the better guidelines than connecting words? In the search of the right connecting words, though, one thing that should be defined beforehand is the logical relation you're addressing. So whether it is cause-effect, or chronology. It could also be contrast or reciprocality. Start using more connecting words, and I promise you, not only you make more sense as you speak, but you also be able to think more rationally. Not to mention that those connecting words double as the transitioning tool, so you'll be more fluid in your speaking. It's safe to say that if you want to explain yourself better, you can be ambiguous. So probably it's not wise to throw out a statement into the abyss without backing it up with some sort of reasoning. And the easiest way to do that is to provide evidence. It could be example or it could be comparison, especially when you're touching an issue that is inherently complicated and hard to explain.
What's your opinion about Channel 14?
You might spend all day trying to analyze it, or you might as well just say,
The way that I feel about Channel 14 is exactly the same about cheesecake. I know they're not good for my health, but I can't stop eating them.
and I'm pretty sure everybody will get what you mean. Speaking of evidences, I want to spotlight a particular type of example, which is personalization. If you can attach any personal experience with the matter at hand, you'll be able to turn something that's seemingly miles away and completely unrealistic into something nearby and very much relatable. As a result, your argument will be evidently more believable. Which is why you've never seen a commercial that stops at "Prepare for your mind to be blown away by this new anti-aging moisturizer, a revolution in skincare technology." It always goes the extra mile to sound more convincing. I used to have very, very bad skin. It was like wrinkled and old, and it was like sagging, and I didn't have like any confidence at all. But this moisturizer, it like changed my life. Like I'm in the movie of Benjamin Button or something. It's amazing. Now at this stage, I believe that you're more than capable of tell whatever story needed to be told. And it's gonna be a good story. But let's make it even better. Not just a good story, let's tell a fascinating one, an alluring one, so that people don't just want to hear about it, they would love to. This is where ambience comes into the picture. You want to inject a little bit of vivaciousness, a little bit of juiciness and animation and nuance into your speaking. And my favorite way of doing that is undoubtedly using adverbs, because they are much akin to Instagram filters, instant and effective. Or shall I say, instantly effective, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, which is very much at the corners, by the way. Let me show you what a difference adverbs can make to your expression. Furthermore, your romantic life. You look amazing. Your dress is very flattering. I like it a lot. Wow. You look deliciously amazing. Your dress is heart-stoppingly flattering. I like it a lot. Now you tell me, which one do you think you would prefer to hear? So that is the 3 easy tools that you can use to jazz up your expression. The last thing that I want to say is that there are a lot of factors to a powerful speaker, but one thing that I know for a certainty is that you don't have to be physically powerful in order to do so. Because words alone are powerful enough if you know how to have your way with them. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Hi everyone, today's video is for our male audience out there. People who find that having a conversation with a female is all kinds of confusing. Now, I'm not much of a converser myself, so I'm afraid I can't give you any advice on what to say to make a woman happy. On a contrary note, fortunate for you, I may have one thing or two to dish out about what not to say unless you want to drive a woman crazy. Get away with one thing from this video, this should be it. Please, 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 my friend, remember that anything even remotely close to the weight topic, it's utterly and unequivocally forbidden. As a woman, I have to say that, in all fairness, women in general are hypersensitive about their weights. They could be even irrationally defensive about it, especially if the topic it's issued by someone from the opposite sex. For this reason, there's just absolutely no way you can talk to a woman about her weight without making a scene. Now, I don't even bother with the obviously unacceptable statements that will have you punch in the throat, such as, "You look fat. Are you sure this gonna fit? Have you considered going to the gym?" I'm talking about the more delicate approaches. The sweet talking, the sugar coating, the pep talking. They won't work either. "Hey, you look great. Have you put on some weight? Are you saying that I'm fat? Hey, you look great. Have you lost some weight? Are you saying that I used to be fat? See, Anne, you're very pretty, but I think you'll look even more attractive if you try working out or something. Are you saying that there's something wrong with my body?" Why inadvertently lure yourself into such predicament? Just be smarter and stay the hell away from anything size related. Normally, it's a completely legitimate thing to say. It only turns ugly when it's spoken in a condescending, patronizing manner. Thanks for helping with the math problems. I just got so confused. That's because you're a woman. Tell me one reason why I have to cook and clean after you. Because you're a woman. Babe. Oh, I'm sorry. I was still living in the 19th century. Saying that doesn't make you sound any smarter or manlier. It just makes you look like a irrational, sexist pig who obviously hasn't been struck by civilization. And if you had the balls to say that, you shouldn't be surprised to see this coming. Shoes? Shoes? More shoes? Tell me one reason why I want to pay for all this shit again. That's because you're a man, babe. Kill me now! We have nowhere to read. The laundry isn't done. Your mom is coming over and you're lying on the couch watching TV. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. You're just hormonal. Son, have you learned nothing? Never ever tell a woman right to her face that she's hormonal. Because chances are, being hormonal is just your way of saying that she's incapable of analyzing the situation and conducting her behavior accordingly. In other words, you're calling her insane. And let me tell you, no women respond well to that kind of accusation. If you told a woman she's hormonal when she isn't, you'd be dead. But it was indeed her prime time of the month, where she had that whole, "you don't want to mess with me" attitude going on, you'd be terrorized. Are you insinuating that I'm crazy? Well, excuse me for looking after this family, which last time I checked includes you, you lazy jerk. And what do you know about my physicality anyway? You're not my gynecologist. Don't tell me when I get hormonal when I don't. And then you'll be dead. You looked different from your photo. Don't say that. It's not necessarily offensive. It just makes things so awkward. Because both parties know what you're implying here is that she's not as attractive as her airbrush Photoshop persona that she's projecting on social media. You don't dare to say that aloud though, in fearing for your life. And she couldn't just respond, "Well, I guess there's nothing Instagram filters can't fix." Am I right? Either. On the very same note, these following statements are also not recommended.
You have a very interesting face. I love you only for your personality.
Last but definitely not least, don't compare one woman to another, especially when they're both at the table. Keep your opinion to yourself. Don't implant unnecessary tension and awkwardness between women, not to mention insecurity and self-doubt. No woman deserves to be treated like that, especially when in return, you wouldn't like to be compared to other men yourself. The bottom line is, say what you mean and mean what you say. If you want a woman to treat you with respect, you have to respect her first. I hope you like this video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye! Hi everyone. I've seen a comment in one of my videos asking my opinion on a certain English book, so I thought why not dedicate an entire video to address all study materials in general, because I think they're a topic very worth addressing. First of all, I think I should just be upfront and tell you straight away my honest opinion on generic English book. I think the majority of them, about 95%, it's complete rubbish. My biggest problem with those books is that they are unrealistic. The information probably hasn't been updated since 2001, and the chosen topics are not exactly relevant. Meaning, those are the kind of topics that you probably don't even bother to give a shit about. And the dialogues, in which class are you studying? I am in 8th standard. What about you? I am in 9th standard. Who says things like that in real life? Besides, if you pay attention, you notice that the range of activities that they have you involved in remains unchanged. It doesn't matter whether you're 8-year-old or 18, you'll still be doing the same kinds of things anyway. If not, multiple choices question, it would be mix and match or eliminating the wrong answer. Been there, done that, sick of them, period. I've never seen English as a kind of subject, as maths or physics, where you have to read maths or physics books in order to approach them. English, it's a language, which means it's not a static. It's an ever-changing, ever-evolving, living, breathing creature that you can find in everything, everywhere you look at. That entails that if you want to practice your reading skills in English, you just read whatever you feel like reading as long as it's English. Same go with other skills. I think the key to that is that we shouldn't perceive things too technically. Like, watching a cooking show doesn't mean you're not learning anything in English. Quite on the contrary. I think shows like MasterChef provide you a ton of practical vocabulary about culinary and food and cooking and stuff that I dare you to find in those fancy English documents you're so fond of. That approach leaves open not just a few, but an endless supply of resources. Great! Which can be annoying sometimes. Seriously? You have to ruin everything, don't you? Let me explain. This kind of aligns with the situation where you have a closet full of clothes, but you still don't know what to wear and not just wearing jeans and t-shirts like everyone else. The overabundance of options can be overwhelming and intimidating, so much so you decide it's better just stick with what you know best. The easy thing that you're most comfortable with. Now, this is not where I'm being patronizing on you. Oh, there's so many better options out there. You just haven't found it. I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Because a few years ago, it would strike me as a completely asinine thought to visit any other size rather than NIGEX. But at the same time, I was always struggling with expressing myself because my vocabulary wasn't versatile enough for me to be as eloquent as I'd like myself to be. So that was when I knew I had to change. And when I say change, I mean change for the better, not for the worse or the equivalent, because that would make no difference. So I replaced my People magazine for The Guardian, The Economist, The New York Times, and I traded my precious mangas for novels. Still can ditch NIGEX though. God knows we need some mindless fun from time to time. And the reason I've been talking a lot about reading is because it's my favorite thing to do. So just find the kind of activity that you enjoy the most, that works out the best for you, and explore its capacity to the fullest. Now let's tackle the most nagging question, how much is enough? This is really hard to indicate a specific number because, well, first of all, everyone is different. Some people have no problems occupying themselves with research for hours without any issues. Some others, including myself, cannot sit their asses still for more than 1 hour at a time. Secondly, saying that feels too much like you're being forced into doing something you don't want. And that can develop a certain level of resentment against starting. Most importantly, it's about quality, not quantity. You can turn anything into an educational experience if you put your mind into it. Even if you're chilling out, having the time of your life on Facebook, you can still switch to your starting mode by navigating yourself toward more informative sites. Pages of news channels or newspapers. YouTube also has great educational channel. My favorite being the Vlogbrother. Fairness is not the most entertaining thing to do, attaching yourself with mind-boggling issues around the world. I've had plenty of those moments of sluggishness, and what I try to do at the time is to push myself a little bit, is give myself a margin of 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes staying on NBC, then I can go back to watching New Girl. Okay, let me just finish this blog post of 10-minute read, Then I can go back to whatever makeup tutorials I feel like watching on YouTube. Most of the times, I find that 10 minutes pass by and I get sucked into whatever I'm reading, or I start browsing for more, having completely forgotten about New Girl or makeup tutorial altogether. So that is it for today's video. Again, this has been a completely personal opinion. It's fine if you don't agree with me, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, so this is gonna be my last video on this channel. Wow, that was one hell of an introduction, don't you think? Initially I meant to go all the wall on you, but then I thought it'd be kind of a dick move. So, but a couple of personal reasons that have led me to the decision of leaving this channel. Don't worry, I'm gonna do the whole touchy-feely farewell part, but it's gonna be at the end. Because after all, we still got a video to tend to. In this video, I actually want to share with you my journey with English. This should have been done a long time ago. It's just that I thought it would be better to, you know, talk about more general stuff than about myself. I don't need to be more self-serving than I already am, you know what I'm saying? Ugh. Terrible anyway. For the first time ever, there will be no gimmicks in this video. It's just gonna be me rambling your ears off, so brace yourself and let's write. To begin with, there are a few things that I think should be clarified. I have never lived in a foreign country, especially the States. I don't know if I should be flattered or perplexed by that assumption. I've always been living in Hanoi ever since I was born. I know it's a lot of people's dream to reside in the US, but it's never been mine. Don't like guns, and I don't like American comedians. I don't find them funny at all, so sue me. Where was I? Oh yeah, English wasn't even my first foreign language. It was French. Studying French the entire length of my adolescence. By the way, the French stuff that we learned, it wasn't the easygoing type thing, it was legit. Thanks that I can still speak a bit of French now that I haven't practiced since forever ago. Bonjour, merci, that pretty much sums up everything you need to know in French anyway. I guess I officially started my English learning since grade 11. And like everyone else, I have ventured in between a number of English centers in Hanoi, but overall I wasn't satisfied with what I learned. The stuff that I wanted most, they didn't teach me. So at one point I just got fed up. I might as well just do this on my own. I wasn't gonna waste any more money on them. That began a new chapter of relentless and rigorous self-education. If only that was true. Reality, pretty much the opposite. Me studying consists of a lot of TV watching and YouTube wondering and fictions devouring. I take English very seriously, but I don't take studying it seriously, nor do I take myself too seriously. There's a philosophy behind it. If you think about it, native speakers, they were born fluent in their languages. More like they've been surrounded by people who speak that language their entire lives, so they kind of have no choice but to grow into being a fluent speaker. That's where my headspace at. What I've always tried to do is to create a English-speaking environment on my own for myself, and it sounds very depressing, but I rather educate myself on the stuff that I truly give a shit about than wasting my time attending some classes to let people bullshitting me and breathing down my neck. Moving on to a few invaluable lessons that I've collected along the way. I don't believe in improving your English by solely focusing on one skill at a time. You can't disintegrate one from another because they have each other's back. For example, you can't speak well if you suck at listening. Speaking of speaking, now I don't have any magical techniques. As I mentioned earlier, I watch a lot of stuff. TV sitcoms, comedy shows, YouTube videos, the whole shebang. I tend to mimic the way that people speak on those shows, and I think that is a good basic start for me to develop my own style of speaking. What I like to do all the time is introducing words and expressions that I think sound kind of cool into my speaking. I think that is how I put what I've learned into practice. Don't shy away from being an aggressive speaker. Like, people comment that I come across a bit intense all the time. But you know what? Better that than speaking with no intonation, no strength, no conviction. Sense of humor, it's fundamental. The most genius word in the history of the language of English, in my opinion, it's fuck. Fuck is just the one-of-a-kind word that you can put any fucking where and it would make completely fucking sense. It's fucking beautiful. Reading, I think, plays the most elementary role in my learning as a whole. And yes, I used to be a fan of the Twilight Saga until the movie came along. In hindsight, probably you shouldn't have listened to me. My advice sounds kind of shit, even to my own ear. I'm telling you all these things not because I want to brag about myself. I just want to stress that I have no privileged background as a student in English. I'm just a normal human being. I have no special talents or abilities. But the biggest reason why English works for me, in my opinion, it's because I have no obligation to study it. I don't study English because I want to go abroad or because I want to show off or anything like that. I just simply do it because I love English as a language. And I think when you do things you love, it will work out. It will definitely work out. On the making videos note, now I didn't know what I was getting myself into at first. The biggest challenge though is to explain myself in a sensible manner for people to understand. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a scholar either. I'm just a student and I'm only speaking from my perspective. So I know it might sound biased from time to time, but I think that is what's unique about YouTube videos anyway. They are personal, so they feel more approachable and more relatable in a way. Overall, I've been tremendously thrilled with all the support, both from people whom I know, as well as people whom I never had a chance to meet. Especially when last year has been a very rough year to me personally. It has been the toughest year of my life. From the bottom of my heart, I just want to say I honestly and truthfully grateful for you. It has been a hell of a ride, to say the least. It's been quite a short one, but a sweet one, I think. Dare I hope you will preserve some nice memory about a crazy person making videos on YouTube? Girl can dream, you know. At last, I just want to say I wish you all the best in your journeys with English. Thank you and goodbye.